Chapter 63 to 65. Android 16 told us something a little special. Not only did you time travel from the future, but you got your A*S beaten by future me as well. What do you think would be different this time? I got the most powerful armor on my side. No matter what I do, as if it is fate, you always seem to have some sort of way of foiling my plans. I don't know what past I ventured into, but you will not stop me. I can't be stopped. Not again. Lighting crackled around Goku and his blonde hair as he strapped on in. Super Saiyan 2, or as this universe would call it, True Super Saiyan. During his time in the hyperbolic time chamber, he achieved his transformation with ease. Time to put it to the test. Goku put his hands on the ground mysteriously as the first move. Android 21 rushed in, not wanting Goku to finish off whatever he started. Did he think he could bend the ground or something? Her answer came to her when blots of ki started erupting out of the ground like a volcano spewing lava. Some flew into her path, and it was getting harder and harder to dodge, since there was barely any reaction time from when she saw it blasting in her face. Finally, one hit her, but it wasn't enough to bring her down, only to stop her. When she opened her eyes, it was met with ki balls all around her person, as if waiting to jump scare her. Peekaboo. Endless amounts of ki balls gravitated towards her, with no escape route in sight. She tried her best to bat them away while going forwards. It was her only option. Unfortunately for her, she batted one into another, and it set off a chain reaction combining into one huge explosion. Just the first interaction, and there has yet to be any actual fighting. It was looking rather one-sided on every battleground so far, but not the side that the Earth wants. You're trash, 16, you always have been. Did you really think you could beat me? 16 was trying his best, but he was easily overpowered by the green monster that ate power. When it comes to my power, 1 + 1 doesn't always equal 2. The power I absorb is much more than that. It is true, quite an easy task for the genetic scientist that was Android 21 with her future knowledge. Of course, that was the same for her as well. Both of 16's hands launched out of his arms, aiming towards Cell. Dodge left, dodge bellow, such as predictable patterns. But since Cell was in the spotlight fighting all the time, it gave 16 enough data to fight him. The remaining part of his arm glowed in light at the end. A blast of highly pressured ki lurched out and created an explosion on Cell's face. He didn't have the firepower to defeat Cell, but he can surely stall. Cell's entire head was deleted from existence with burnt residue on his neck. You can already see his cells regenerating, as if recovering from a minor cut. 16 didn't let up and ran up to him with his arm outstretched. Performing a lariat, Cell fell back into the ground open for more attacks. His two hands flew back towards them, but instead of going back to their owner, they went straight to the downed Cell with rocket boosters accelerating them. Puncturing a hole as large as the fist were, they opened their hands while inside Cell and unleashed hell. Cell's body lit up like a firework from the ki and exploded from the overextension. Of course, this wasn't the end, as his body started to work faster, regenerating from just one lone cell in the air. Gohan and Bulla, proud of their coordination and teamwork, clearly have never met Android 16 and 17. They were basically the grown-up versions of themselves, but stronger and unlimited energy to unleash. What's wrong? I thought you Super Saiyan brats were going to put up more of a fight. As the android taunted them more with their monotone voices, it really got into the children's heads. 17 and 18 separated the two, and it was 17 versus Gohan and 18 versus Bulla. If they weren't winning together, they had less of a chance separate. Gohan took a serious punch in the gut, letting 17 lift his small body up, while Bulla's back cracked from the pressure of 18's kick. Picking them both up, they threw them into each other. Gohan could see 18 coming in with another heavy hitter, while Bulla could see the same with 17. Gohan reacted fast and pushed Bulla up with his hands, while boosting him up in the process. The androids' fists crashed into each other, where the children's heads were previously. Not missing this chance, Gohan and Bulla fired Ki Wave from top and bottom. A Ki battle against androids? That was a battle they could never win. With perfect accuracy, they shot down each and every one with minimal effort, watching each other's back in the process. What? I call bogus. They have to be using an aimbot or something. Well, they are androids. Let's do the new move. Yeah, was this the new technique they were discussing earlier? Gohan encased himself inside a dense Ki sphere with multiple layers like a hamster in a ball. Two one-way turrets jutted out from the front, and Gohan put his hands in them. Bulla did the same as him, but before she was fully encased, she shot out a string of buoyant ki, connecting the two, acting as a rope. What the? Creativity. That was something the kids had on them, utterly stumping them on their plans. Bulla started to run, and her ball started to rotate, building so much speed like a race car brushing up dirt until finally, she allowed the ki ball to launch forward. Although it was extremely fast, 18 still was able to dodge it from such a long startup time. As she watched Bulla keep on going on her path, she notices the rope stretching as if it were about to tear. Wait, Her head jerked back to where Gohan was, but all she got was a bright ball of ki rushing at her. Smacked in the face, she fell to the ground from the hard impact. They were far from done. Anchoring herself so she wouldn't get pulled from Gohan's momentum when he landed, she started to circle the two androids, feeding off of one another's speed and momentum. Eventually, their encirclement got insanely fast, brewing up the dirt underneath them like a hurricane. Such long practice, they were able to move perfectly in sync with one another, finally using the turrets that were thought to be a decoration at that point. Gushes of ki came out hitting the androids on all sides. Even though each blast didn't hurt them that much, there was too many ki blasts in this ki storm attack accumulating their damage. They tired constantly to fly out, but the ki blast was extremely concentrated on the top, combined with the dirt everywhere. Forced them to go down. Seems we got a problem. Back over at the main fight, it wasn't a fight of cat and mouse. Goku, although slightly weaker while in this form, made up for it from his superior ki tactics and strategies to always keep 21 in a disadvantage. He had just thrown 3 Destructo discs, slicing both of her arms and her legs from her torso. He wanted to approach and finish her, but didn't throw caution to the wind, bombarding her with ki blasts while he ran up. Her body was compiled in a shroud of smoke. Mere inches away from the smoke, this danger sense was going off the charts. Leave. Goku jumped away, but it didn't even matter. A purple hand stretched like there was no tomorrow and found Goku's neck to hold. The smoke dissipated and revealed a mangled body of 21. Only her hand, which was quickly regenerated if the 2 other hands on the floor weren't any indication, was purple with strange black triangles on it. Slowly, the purple started to corrupt her pink side, shading her in a more evil look. It was having an effect on her sanity, as she looked more crazed than ever. Eventually, her entire body, from head to toe, was replaced from the previous pink to a purple, accelerating her power to new heights. Pulling him closer, she licked her lips as if she found juicy prey in front of her in the form of Goku and pointed her finger from her other hand that regenerated. The separated body parts earlier seemed like it gained sentience of itself and remerged with her already. Firing a candy beam, Goku kicked her in the shin, resulting in her misfiring her beam into the sky above. Coating his hand in ki to form a blade, he sliced the hand strangling him and retreated back while 21 winced in pain. He threw the arm that was still clenched on the ground next to him. Finally, this form came out, something worth testing it out on. True heart of a scion. Gotta say, I liked you better when you were pink. Hot pink was kinda in the name for a reason. Shut up, SHUP up. I am tired of listening to you talk. Her power was out of control, and you could tell that her sanity was going to leave her the longer she was in this form. Ki blasts were decorating their battlefield like it was raining fire. The fight from over there was affecting the battle more than Goku liked. Fine, I won't let you hear my beautiful voice. But if you are transforming, it would only be fair if I did as well, right? Reverting back into his base form, he was about to break history once again. What's new? Tensing his muscles, his veins all over his body strained to its limits to keep up with the power that was currently being forced out from within. Despite him being in his base form, the aura around glowed a light yellow as he started this transformation. The air around him started to swirl into a dense smoke, masking parts of his body, as if they were called to, releasing a muffled yell into the sky with the sound of a distorted ape. What? It felt good. This transformation was similar to his ape form, hair growing all across his body similar to his tail. Except for this time, the golden aura seeped inside every hair that grew to turn it into deep scarlet color. Each and every one eluded phenomenal power. Lastly, his hair turned into a comfortable mane while his eyes turned yellow. Completing the transformation, a phantom of an enraged ape with golden hair protruded out of him, affecting everyone around him. 21, hit with it at point blank, had the golden ape encompass her brain. It rampaged around her mind, not helping with her sanity one bit. I didn't want to use this transformation, but such a strong opponent to test my limits. I can already tell I am many times stronger than her, but the transformation will only last 10 minutes tops. That is the penalty of reaching this checkpoint without my body being ready for it. Because of his wish previously allowing him easier control of transformations, he was able to get this transformation even before Super Saiyan 2. However, with his weak body and weak ki reserves, he could not sustain it for long. The only solution was to get stronger in his base form to truly capitalize the power in this transformation and last substantially longer. Android 21 was still holding her head from the passive mental attack that he unleashed with just transforming into the state. Luckily, his allies were outside the range, unaffecting them. Although they were holding their own, 16 stalling Cell with his unlimited energy and massive firepower, and Gohan and Bulla bombarding 18 and 17 in their airtight creativity and teamwork, he knew he needed to finish 21 before taking care of their opponents. The good 21 watched from a safe distance. Her heart was in a state of turmoil. All of this doom and destruction was all because of her. At least that was what she thought. If only I was stronger, I could have destroyed her before she got out of control. But I failed twice. She turned to look at Goku, who was standing tall with his back facing her. The sun shone perfectly to make him out to be heaven-sent, glistening upon his red fur. What is this timeline? Based on my research, of course, there should be branching timelines, but this is to the extreme. This Goku already is reaching the scope of the Goku I met before, and he is many times younger. What could possibly happen to change this one so much from the one I was just in? Having a time limit on this transformation, Goku vanished into action. He didn't wait for 21 to recover and appeared before her in an extremely calm manner. Similar to the ape form, this super ape form suppressed his mind to be calm and steady. Unless prompted, that high ceiling won't be broken anytime soon. Grabbing each hand by the wrist, he snapped both of her arms to an irregular position. The snap sounds of bones and intense pain broke the mental lock that she was in, and she found herself back into a position of inferiority. Even after transforming to my ultimate form, I am still weaker? Still weak at every turn and corner. She looked at Goku with her red eyes in silence. She couldn't move her arms as he was holding onto it, and even with her regeneration factor, it couldn't be put to use if he held it in that position forever. Soon she would find out that it will be a long time until she can look at his eyes directly again. Trapping her hands next to her, and he put her in a hold. Hugging the life out of her, her back muscles started to crumble down as her skin got closer and closer to his. If she didn't stop this, her eyes would eventually pop out, so she sent her other appendage that can attack at the moment, and that was her tail. It wasn't one where it could suck the life force of the opposition, but its sharp end could do some serious damage to an unsuspecting victim. Just as it was going to pierce his skin, she felt something soft but strong hold onto her tail. Looking down with great effort, she saw his red tail that intervened. His red tail wrapped around hers and constrained it as well. She felt as if she was being wrung out by a constrictor snake. This is getting old. Let's get of here, 18. Yeah, these kids put up quite the fight. Being the machines that they were able to calculate the best escape route, even when bombarded with key techniques. Their brains worked similarly to each other, so they were in sync. Although it was a good and creative technique, with weak firepower, they were never going to win. Go 18. Don't tell me what to do. Even though she said that she still went to start their plan. Their technique resembled a bolus, a throwing weapon with two balls at the end with a rope connecting them, usually entrapping others by their legs. Whenever they tried to sever that rope, which was a weak but buoyant string of ki, they would get bombarded to no end, similar to the situation when they would try to go up. This technique was meant for one person. Otherwise, how could they prevent them from escaping and protect their cord? 18 dashed up to try her best to get out of the encirclement, and naturally, the two kids both focused their shots upward to stop her. 17 saw the opening and dashed down towards their rope to cut it down. They noticed what they were trying to do, and Gohan switched his firing to 17, alleviating pressure from 18. This, however, didn't alert the two kids, but actually made them smile. With each android only dealing with half of the firepower, they were able to use brute strength to get out. 17 was able to barely sever the line when Bulla opted to aim at him to ignoring 18. But she was too late. With their line severed, the two balls and their momentum started to go in the direction that they were facing when they were cut at momentous speed. Kids thought they got us. The two went in completely opposite directions and didn't stop anytime soon. Both of the kids still had their hands in the turrets, and both of them shot at 17, who was still in the middle. He smirked and floated up a little, leveling with 18, letting the two ki blast clash with each other midair. You thought that would get me? No. They both said the line at the same time, making 17 confused. If that blast wasn't meant for him, then what was it used for? The two ki blasts that connected with each other and stayed with each other, where they met as they also went back to the spheres at light speed. The two keys made another rope. It didn't even take a millisecond for this rope to be stretched to its limits, rocketing both spheres towards the center. It didn't end there. The two kids even use a Kamehameha wave to propel them faster. Unable to react to the massive speed, both androids got crushed with their backs against each other. Such a huge impact and acceleration. It did incredible damage to the interior and exterior of the androids. Even the kids' multilayered dense ki spheres started to crack like an egg, until finally breaking allow all participants to free fall to the ground. Landing on the ground on their 2 feet, the androids crashed just a few feet away from them. Nice. Hopefully, we didn't break them. Giving each other a high five, they were given explicit orders not to do too much damage, since they were fighting against their will. It seems they did the right amount to knock them out, but not irreparable injuries. Break them? Think about our situation. We broke our balls. Merely 30 seconds have passed since he transformed, and 21 already felt like she was going to die. Now Goku could keep squishing her, but with the genes of Majin Buu of the future, she would not die anytime soon. Throwing her in the air, he prepared a Kamehameha of epic proportions. 10x its usual power, if you will. After being constrained for so long, 21 felt paralyzed, still unable to move her arms or circulate her ki. Kamehameha. A blast of ki, red in color, came barreling towards here. The sheer power of it indicated that it would incinerate her on the spot, leaving no room to revive. As she saw her life flash before her eyes, she was only a teenager, for goodness sake. She was too young to die. Her whole body felt like it wasn't hers to control, and she felt the breeze of the air. Abruptly, that breeze got stronger and turned to wind, pelting her face. Opening her eyes, she saw that she was actually flying towards Cell, who had his hand in the air, covered in a slight red glow. Telekinesis. Arriving before Cell, she was gently placed down next to him. She could barely speak. Thank you, Cell Herc. She couldn't even speak a single sentence before Cell's tail pierced her stomach. I've never seen this form before. Haha, I can feel so much power. His tail gobbled up giant chunks of her ki, and nearly finished her ki reserves in a second. Ha ha ha. His power and aura skyrocketed, deepening its shade to a dark purple. His overall tone became darker, and his eyes that were already wild transformed black with the same yellow pupils. As said before, the energy he absorbed multiplied within itself, leaving the combined ki reserves bigger than both of them had previously. For the reason why they didn't do this earlier. This is the reason. You are useless to me now. I thank you for your service, however. Without you, I would have never been able to reach this level of power. Now be a good animal, and keep producing ki for me to absorb. Cell threw 21 through the hole that was busted by 21 herself into the lab, and into the energy containment that housed the other entities that had their power sucked. Goku looked over in the direction of the other battles. The kids were finished with their battle, but looking past them, he saw 16 on the ground, roughed up with smoke coming out of somewhere. Kids, take the androids to Bulma. I will finish here. Aokowo. The battlefield was empty now, ready for Goku to unleash his full strength. Son Goku, I will take my revenge now. After all that humiliation that I was forced to take, I finally have more power than you. Truly, this was inevitable. We know, you are a typical supervillain. You don't have to steal literally everything from them, from the monologues to the plot. Let's just get this over with. Both of them ran towards each other, the earth shaking from every one of their steps. Goku had a smile on his face, as he won the first exchange with a fist cracking Cell's cheek. Now this is the life. Cell, he lashed out in retaliation, with a quick swipe. Goku grabbed his arm as it passed by, and was ready to use it as leverage. He has seen enough of Goku's holds, and decided to blast off his arm before he could go any further. Surprised at the quick decision, Cell kicked him in the stomach before he could react. He skids back a little, but he was stopped much to his confusion. He was pushed towards Cell, who was ready with a supercharged punch. With a very delicate touch and speed, he pushed Cell's arm to the side. Even though he successfully diverted the punch, the momentum still made him fall to the ground. Rolling on the ground on purpose, he jumped up smoothly, making sure not to leave any openings. He looked at who had pushed him, and he saw a small little blue gremlin, looking awfully similar to Cell. He even had the dark and evil effect Cell had after absorbing Evil 21. It didn't take long for him to multiply, surrounding Goku on all sides. Just one cell neared his cell. He needed to really focus to take these ones out. The first one jumped, and the rest followed. The main one stayed back watching, but ready to pounce whenever. As the Cell Jr. got into range, Goku launched a sweeping high kick to meet him in the middle. Goku's foot exploded the little guy midair, and his foot didn't stop in momentum at all. Attacked on all sides, he had no time to rest and meticulously destroyed them one by one. When 2 got their heads crushed by Goku's large hands, 3 replaced them. They kept coming, like little blue germs, persistent and unwavering by death. Each Cell Jr. was killed a different way. A back fist was Goku's personal favorite. It was like popping a balloon. Cell saw that although the Cell Jr. were employing different tactics to try and break Goku's defense, they kept on getting launched to their deaths. Changing plans, he started to charge his ki in a familiar motion. Kamehameha. Suddenly, all the Cell Jr. stopped attacking and backed away, jumping. As they jumped, they also put their hands to the side and charge up their ki. The miraculous blue light that emitted from each source shines brightly in his face. It was like looking at stars in the night sky. Deadly ones. His hand went to the stop between his forehead as quick as he can. But how can Cell let him go that easily? Goku teleported to an outer edge Cell Jr., but the moment he did, all of the cells teleported at the same time, keeping Goku in the center. Welp, copycats are the worst. Like, be a little more original. Spinning in spot at torrential speed, he created his own wind cycle, and eventually a tornado. It moved towards the edges before a Cell Jr., before going back to the middle, and did it several times. All the cells launched their Kamehameha waves at the same time at the tornado. From top to the around him, there was no dead space for Goku to run out of and escape. Hearing the scream of his child, Cell looked over to where one of his juniors died unexpectedly. How did he die? He nearly found out for himself when a ki beam took a chunk of his hip with it into the beyond. Struggling to keep a hold, he had to wait for his regeneration factor to kick in. What? That ki, it didn't feel like Goku, but one of my own. Looking at the tornado in the middle, that has to be the one causing this. What else can it be? Beams of light went in and beams of light went out just as deadly aiming randomly. Inside the tornado, Goku wasn't doing much at all. Even that was an understatement. All the tornado did was cover where he was and gave him ample room to dodge. The Kamehamehas that were coming back were merely the product of two beams colliding and bouncing off of each other. Goku may influence some of them, but why use the effort? Stop the count. All of his Cell juniors stopped firing, but as seamless as it could be, Goku sent out the rest of the ki blasted he needed and destroyed the rest as they were exhausted. Fully healed seconds ago, Cell was ready for a second round. Goku, however, knew better than indulge himself in the fight. I don't have much time left. I need to kill Cell right now. If I don't, I am guaranteed to lose. Emom, where are you? Bulla and Gohan barged into the house carrying a broken-down 16. He had tried his best and used all his firepower without reserves, but Cell still got the best of him. 18 and 17 followed behind a little slow and reluctantly. It was quite awkward to act like nothing happened, but after Cell absorbed 21, her control over them dwindled enough for the androids to stomp the virus out. Kids, has he broken again? What are you doing to him? Bulma walked out in her casual home clothes, stretching after she took a quick nap to rejuvenate herself. Chi-Chi also stepped out with curiosity behind her. Yeah, Dad is going up against this super baddie, and he absorbed this other. Wait, what? Out of nowhere, Caulifla barged into the living room where they were talking. You said Goku is fighting a bad guy, and he hasn't come back yet? Are you talking about those androids? Gohan looked over at the other two androids. Kinda. I need to go over there and help him. Tell Kale I will be right back. Why you can't? Dad told us not to intervene. Chi-Chi chuckled at that respite. Your dad may be incredibly strong, but he doesn't know everything. Go and help them, Bulma and I will fix 16. Caulifla nodded. It felt like they all had a mental connection, knowing what the other was thinking and feeling. A little strange, but Caulifla didn't question it and dashed off. Where has Caulifla gone? Kale came barreling through where Caulifla just came out of. No words were said, only everyone pointing at the open door that was swinging by the force it was open. Wait for me. Ah, science. Looking over where she felt eyes trained on her, Gohan and Bulla were looking at her with the biggest googly eyes they could muster. Chi-Chi slapped herself while shaking her head. It's like he has infinite energy. Goku has already popped another Senzu bean to keep himself in the fight. Another 5 minutes, thought Goku to himself. The battlefield was a mess with craters, and Cell Jr. guts scattered. The more he fought Cell, even though he was beating him, he couldn't defeat him due to his natural abilities. To make matters worse, as they kept on the fight, Cell was getting more and more acclimated with his power gaining a boost in power. I just need one opening, then I will blast him out of this world. Goku tripped Cell by pulling his ankle forward with his foot. With his other, he kicked him in the back as he fell down. Normally that would cripple or at least stall the other party. But Cell instead uses Goku's leg to balance and shot Ki Blast accurately at his face. Swatting them away, Cell was once again in his face and they engaged in another slugfest. He needed a change in tactics. Solar Flare. An old trick but works like a charm. Cell staggered back, letting Goku push him back with more punches to his chest. Once a significant distance away, he charged his ki to the side and got ready to fire. Kamehame. Still blind, Cell also put his hands on his side and powered up. His battle sense was top-notch, and he knew this was one of the only ways for him to survive. Their two beams met in the middle. One blue with yellow-golden energy surrounding him. He pumped some of that energy into the Kamehameha, pushing forward his beam more, while also turning his beam redder. Regaining his vision, Cell extracted the dark ki he gained into his own Kamehameha and infused it with his own beam, corrupting its natural blue color with a purple-black. It was met in the middle once again. Goku didn't know what else to do to increase his power. He had to try, though. The Earth was on the line. Stimulating his ki into the transformative process instead of output, the advantage started going to Cell. What's wrong? Feeling a little tired? Don't worry. I will put you into permanent sleep in my belly. Goku's ki just went up and up as if in response to that taunt. Veins appeared and even his animalistic eyes started to sporadically move around his eye. More power. Faint sparks of lighting started to surround Goku. It took an immense amount of effort, and it still seemed so far, but Goku kept pushing for it. Come on. The lighting connected to the ground and circled Goku, while still being part of his body. Depleting fast, his ki reserves were looking dire, to say the least. I don't think I can transform again. What else can I do? Maybe another Senzu and try Kamikaze? I have been meaning to go to the other world. This may be my perfect chance. Having trouble, Kakarot? Never would have thought the strongest scion would struggle against vermin like him. Vegeta, flying down, creating a triangle with the other two. He had his arms crossed in his signature blue outfit. Goku noticed something different about him since he last saw him. The air around him changed even though he was talking the same. Has he changed this much in only 1 year? What Goku didn't know was that this change was very recent. Recent as in this day recent. I will help you, only because I want revenge on this ugly Bast *RD, powering up. Goku was thoroughly surprised when he saw lighting around his character as he turned Super Saiyan, indicating Vegeta's advancement. His level of progress was the same as him or faster, even with Goku and his wish. A true prodigy. Vegeta put his hand together in front of him and started charging up yellowish ki with lightning crackling all around. Final flash. Cell couldn't stop his beam now, or Goku's would disintegrate him. Vegeta's didn't look like a weak one, either considering how much his power skyrocketed. Opening his tail large enough, Cell jutted out a Cell Jr., and he quickly leaped into action. With a portion of his strength given to him, Cell's beam got weaker, getting the two back into a stalemate. The Cell Jr. unleashed his Kamehameha to counter Vegeta, and they both stopped right in the middle. Vegeta, don't intervene. I thought you were supposed to be prideful or something. This is my fight. Don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. Shut up, you germ. He was about to spew more words until he noticed more key signatures show up. Caulifla and Kale, who caught up, arrived, landing on the ground, creating a T-shape from a bird's eye view. Looks like you need help, Kakarot. I knew it. More scions? For an extinct race, you sure bang like monkeys. You're just jealous. Let's roast this man. Kale. Yes, Caulifla. Caulifla powered up into a Super Saiyan, while Kale extracted some power from her Wrath form. It wasn't nearly the same as its Prime or even Super Saiyan, but once she got more control over it, she would be a force to reckon with. Crush Cannon. Resist Cannon. The red and green ki combined for a swirl of fun headed towards Cell. Much to his chagrin, he created another Cell Jr. to counter that beam too. Meeting it in the middle, Cell lost more momentum to Goku. Alright, now that Scion is dealt with, I just need to kill Goku and kill them next. Phew, life as a supervillain is hard. Now then, just as he was thinking that, he felt two more behind him. Feeling the ki behind is not that much, he felt he could barely make this to survive. Hey Dad, do you need help? It seems as if everyone already got their spot. Look, we are a square around Cell throwing our beams at him. There is no way they could win. Yeah, but let's use the move. There is no reason not to. Okay, sure, just don't mess it up this time. Yeah, whatever. Distancing themselves from one another, they both got into a weird pose with their arms facing away from each other, sliding toward each other while moving their hands. Counterclockwise, they were in perfect sync. Then in two swift motions of back and forth, their fingers touched in the middle, covering them in a thin layer of ki. Once that ki was dispersed, what came out wasn't what came in. One being instead of two. Two voices instead of one. Insurmountable power of fusion. Hell yeah, we did it. Man, the power E feel is amazing. We can probably take down Cell all by ourselves. Bulhan. Yes, Dad. Charging up their ki, they also launched it into Cell. Releasing another Cell Jr., he was trapped on all four sides with only his 3-cell JRS to support him. And from the looks of how close Goku's beam was to his face, he didn't know how much longer he had. Look around, Cell, it's over. You, who have thrown and abandoned all of your fellow androids for power. It has left you all alone while surrounded by members of my race. I would say learn from your mistakes, but you won't be able to do much thinking in the overworld. Damn you, Goku, and all you treacherous scions. I swear I will come back for revenge, find a way. Always look behind your shoulder, or your family might be gone the next instance. Ha ha ha. Goku had enough of this maniac. Pushing his ki a little more, Cell's hands were getting burned. The next second, his control broke and the blast enveloped his body. His outline was visible as he was floating in the ki lifelessly. The Cell JRS was next to go on all sides at the same time, as their leader, who was giving them power, was down. Cross the streams. They did just that. All four blasts converged in the middle, creating a massive ball of ki, in the middle destroying anything within it. All the way down to the very last cell.